So here's where it gets really practical and tangible for most of you and me. The undue hardship analysis is what I am probably most often involved with discussing with employers. The employee gets something from their doctor or comes in and asks for something on their own that they want to have happen in the workplace. And sometimes it seems reasonable, sometimes it doesn't. But by and large, the issue becomes, is this something that we have to allow? And therefore, the question ultimately becomes, does it impose an undue hardship? A little harder to see, but right under undue hardship, the definition under both the ADA and the human rights law is specifically significant difficulty or expense. There are a number of factors listed in the laws, but again, they're not necessarily the only factors that can be considered in determining whether something is an undue hardship. For the most part, most often, undue hardship pertains to cost. How expensive is the accommodation going to be? But there are also many circumstances where cost is not necessarily the most significant burden on the company, and the problem is really the impact on the overall workplace or the realities of having to deal with other employees who may or may not receive the same accommodation for various reasons, and that type of thing. But these factors, you'll see, for the most part, kind of imply that the larger an employer is, the more employees they have, the more people within the same general facility that could pick up the slack for an employee, for example, in some cases, are going to be more likely to have to allow a particular accommodation than really small workplaces. Not to say that a small company couldn't have more money available than a larger company, but the gist of these factors goes that way. Bigger companies with more money and more employees will have a greater obligation to accommodate on average than smaller companies, perhaps startups, or if you want, mom and pop businesses that don't have as extensive of bank accounts and ranks of employees to fill in, which also means they have fewer positions to transfer employees between, which might also mean that they can't make as many physical modifications to the workplace, etc.